Okay, this time it says we're up. Bitrate dropped. Okay, now the stream's good.
Yep.
Race 2 of the XRS season here at Mugello. Full circuit here in Forza Motorsport 7. It was a fun, exciting race that we had in the XRS 500 all the way down to the finish last weekend. I'm Fan2403, joined alongside with AK in the booth again. AK, last week was exciting, but now, biggest improvements made from race 1 to race 2. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
I mean, tonight's race is a lot different from, obviously, your Daytona race, first race, because it's a road course, number one. That's the obvious reasoning. So it won't be full throttle in the entire race. They'll have to brake, they'll have to downshift, they'll have to have throttle control. Those who can master those two things specifically will have their best shots at this race.
Cars starting to get rolling off the grid here. We just wrapped up qualifying not too long ago. A lot of newcomers in the field for tonight's race. I believe a total of 9 rookies in the field tonight.
Yeah, those 9 rookies are Salt, MVP, Offset, Vanquish, What's Up, Cam, Josh, and Question Mark in total.
Cars making the ray and the pace lap now going around turn 1. Mugello, this is an interesting circuit. We have ran at Mugello in the past. We ran last season, but then before last season, we did have a few season hiatus of Mugello not being on the schedule. And AK, what are just a few interesting things about this track?
Well, a few interesting things is, one, obviously the track is in Italy, opened in 1974. It's 3.26 miles long, 15 corners, has hosted a few F1 races, and the first 4 corners feel a lot like Suzuka, you'll see, as you have that very long straight coming into that very, very, very hard braking zone. First corner, very longer corner, followed by a few sort of S's right after that corner. So it feel a lot like Suzuka. So some of these drivers should be able to get through that first 4 corners that Suzuka's been on the schedule for a very long time.
Should be very interesting for a lot of newcomers, a lot of road course ringers. There are drivers in the field who are only known for bringing their true show of speed in the road courses, and that's what we have showing tonight. Going through the grid here, Vanquish, first rookie in the field, and also, well, Pete just showed out to be so dominant during practice and qualifying. Obviously got the pole today. Starting alongside him in second is Tython. Tython had an overall good showing in last week's race in the 500, but obviously looking to improve more for him and his team. Third place, we have Shinobi. Shinobi, he's been very fast in the road courses throughout his career. He won his first career start at a road course at Watkins Glen. Even more road course competitors on back. We have Oracle. Oracle, he qualified 5th, and he has been a very big competitor in the road courses. He won at a road course last season, being the Miami Rain road course. Wooly Mixer, another road course ringer. Not very known for NASCAR, but he sure is fast in Formula 1 and carries more speed into the XRS Cup Series. He's going to try his best tonight. D-Dog is just a hard racer overall. He will figure out a way to get his car fast. Off-Road Hype, last year's Rookie of the Year, doing very well. Josh Kurz, a new rookie. Culture, the owner. Kart Racer, the other owner. Kanuan back. What's Up? Panda and Ringo. Hawk all making the field. Green flag. Race 2 of XRS is underway.
Yeah, just getting down turn 1 here. It'll be a very hard braking zone this corner right here. You'll see everyone slow down to a crawl. Everyone needs to be very cautious, especially on this first lap, to make sure that we don't rear end anyone.
Everybody just trying to get settled in right here. Vanquish taking the early charge at the front. Tython having some trouble with Shinobi right on him.
Oh, some contact between Shinobi and Tython. Oh, Shinobi locks up the tires a little. Seems to keep it going though.
Looks like Shinobi's going to clear him.
Yep, Shinobi will get him, but there's some nice racing in the back between 4 or 5 drivers right now. 3 wide there for second between D-Dog Culture and Oracle there.
Yep, all the way back here for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Very bundled up positions, and that's what you're going to find. A little contact there with Culture.
Oh! They save it? No, but they
Who do we have in the sand?
D-Dog Cart in the sand.
D-Dog.
That'll be something we'll be seeing a lot of. This really, if you make one small mistake hanging out wide a little bit, you'll be caught in a sand trap because there's basically sand practically around all of this track. You get in that sand, you're going to be slowed down a lot. You're probably going to lose a couple positions.
As you see, if you look on the mini-map bottom left of your screen, you see a lot. Oh, Panda nearly getting tagged there. You see the cars really spreading out. You're going to see a large worm effect. With this many cars on track, we can very much get into long green flag runs that can lead to cars getting lapped down.
I mean, road courses always call for long green flag runs as the car checks or locks up brakes in the back. He'll go wide. I think that was D-Dog. You'll see long green flag runs because the field will get really spread out. It's not like pack racing like at Homestead, Indianapolis, or Daytona. Everyone's going to get really stretched out. You'll see maybe, I think we're predicting 2 or 3 yellow flags for this race with the car count. But really, you'll be seeing more green flag laps than yellows.
Vanquish, after turn 2, getting a little slow, squirrely in the rear. That's allowed MVP to close.
Big battle between here for, I believe, 14th place. Between Panda's in the sand trap. He'll lose a ton of spots. 14th down to 19th to make that 20th. You see what I mean about those sand traps? You get in them, you're going to lose a ton of positions, especially early on in this race. But luckily, it is early on in this race, so he'll be able to rebound from that, hopefully.
Yep, plenty of time to get back up to a position where he feels like he can be contending for personal best. Or not.
Right now, a battle for 13th place between 3 or 4 cars. Edwards, D-Dog, Cam, and Cart.
Right along with Cam here, D-Dog taking a look.
Cam locks up the brakes.
Driver's left.
That's something that I said earlier on, that brake and throttle control, you can't lock up your tires or else you will slide, and you slide your tires, you're going to go straight and you're not going to be able to turn. So the less you slide your tires, the faster you'll be.
3 laps in, the first 2 cars, they've got out of Dodge.
Offset very far off in the sand trap. He had a big mistake. He'll lose a lot of spots there. I believe he was in 10th at the time.
Now we were able to find offset, yeah. He lost a bunch of bundles in front of him.
4 cars racing up ahead for 16th.
Yeah, for 16th, about to point that out. You have What's Up in a completely blank car.
Oh!
His car is not glitched. Oh!
D-Dog made... Deeds Beeman made an aggressive move. Almost said D-Dog.
Well, Deeds, from the racing that we saw last week. Oh, Panda moving What's Up out of the way. Now, the reason why What's Up is a completely blank car is because he doesn't have a number registered to him. Therefore, he cannot run in a scheme.
Yeah, he was a very last-second entry into this race, and he's in the sand right now. So he didn't really get time to register a number, so we said, all right, well, just run a blank car, I guess, then. There he is, primer and all. Question mark in the sand trap a little now, too. He'll lose some time.
And moving up ahead, D-Dog already polarizing back and forth. Not the start of this race that he wanted.
No, not at all. That sand trap really lost him some positions. But he's gained back a fair few positions off people's mistakes by the looks of it. As Cam goes on the sand trap behind him. Those sand traps, like I said, we'll be seeing that a lot in this race. Because there's sand everywhere.
Yeah, and most of them can be single-car incidents. It's not very rare that you're going to see someone go off on their own. because when going under the braking zones and trying to get under contact, you have a sense of when you're going to go off, and you can really control your car. But if it's by yourself, you have no sense other than yourself driving the car.
Yeah, and it's just going to be some small driver errors. It could be something as light as missing a braking zone or locking up your front tires. Stuff like that will cause you to go in the sand. And it's just going to be those smallest driver errors that will catch people off and put them in the sand.
Yep. We're right along with Coulter here, running his track house scheme. By the looks of his back bumper, he's definitely been hit a few times.
Yeah, he's been hit just a little bit. Up ahead, Reno's battling Oracle for that 8th spot. Up ahead. And looking at
Reno contesting well.
Looking at Oracle's back bumper, it looks like they've been beating the bang for just a little bit, I'd say.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But hey.
Wooly Mixer making a charge. He's in 6th right now, but he's trying to get his eyes on off-road.
Yeah, like we said, we knew the road course. We mentioned the road course ringers pretty much the top. I don't know, top. What would you say? 8, maybe 9 or 10?
I would for sure say that the top 8 cars right now are very much road course ringers. Reno, he's a strong driver, but all of his wins have been on ovals.
Yeah.
Coulter, he has won in his career, but I believe he has only won on ovals as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know Reno won last week, and he's probably looking to keep that momentum up. But obviously, almost all of his wins coming from Daytona, as I think somebody has just lost connection.
Yeah, we have a black screen right now, which usually indicates that somebody has indeed left the race, lagged out, disconnected, or something.
Ooh, Reno's going to get past Oracle after Oracle goes into the grass a little bit. Little mistakes like that, that's what you got to capitalize on.
Ooh, Hawk trying to make a move on Wooly. Hawk goes wide, trying to get around. Wooly retains the spot in the crossover. Nice move by him.
Yeah, great move by Reno behind him. Oracle made just a slight mistake, misjudged
and that
his
is
speed.
Question Mark who DNF'd. Question Mark, the 45. So, very unfortunate. Question Mark, he was unable to make last week's 500 due to connecting issues, and looks like here he still has connecting issues.
Yeah. Off-road mix.
Not a good start for 23XI in the 45 team.
No, not at all. It's not one that they were looking forward to. Especially with that lag out, he was at least looking to make some sort of points up from last week's with not part, but probably about a quarter of those racers not being here tonight. He was looking to make up some of those points back, but unfortunately, he'll be scored last for this race.
Vanquish has just gotten out of dodge here. At first, he slipped up a little bit, which has allowed MVP to close, but then now Vanquish has built up a 4.2 second gap.
Yeah, he was looking very dominant in practice and qualifying, making about 2 seconds faster than anyone else in the field. So really, to me, it's no shocker right now that he has such a large gap compared to second place.
Yeah, but he is squirrely on a lot of spots on track, whether if that's his driving style or that's really him just trying to fight the car, but he has for sure he has a monster behind that wheel.
Yeah, I took a few laps around here in the car, and the car did feel a little, not a little tight, but tight enough for this track, tight enough that it felt right for this track. So for him to get loose, he has to be pushing that car really hard around these corners, making sure, and if he makes one slight mistake, that could cost him a lot, as we've seen early on.
Yeah, making one big mistake, and it can take. If we saw Panda earlier, he was running 16th, almost 15th, and then got caught in that sand trap. They put him all the way to last. Now he's got his way back up to 16th in a matter of a few laps. But that gap was a little bit bigger than the gap that Vanquish and MVP have formed. So if Vanquish, he's not safe.
Yeah. And something I like seeing, especially on these road courses, is the different lines being used. Really, one that I just saw there was between off-road and Wooly, coming into turns 3 and 4. You could see off-road taking the sort of high angle, high arc into the turn number 4, and Woolley just takes the shallow arc. So you're going to see a lot of lines progress, and you're going to see drivers find out which lines they like more, which lines work for them throughout this race.
You are allowed to use most of the track at your disposal. You're allowed to run wide if you need to. You just can't shortcut the corner. So those guys running the shallower route, they for sure need to be careful that they don't get too far ahead of themselves. Hawk Woolley having a good battle here.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to comment on. Hawk beating on that rear bumper, and if you look, it's getting pretty used up early on for Woolley. But I mean, if he's just trying to hold this position right now, and maybe try and catch off-road as well.
Yep, Hawk for sure in a good position. Hawk, he was last year's champion. He's a 2-time series champion, so he's strong and consistent on all tracks that we run.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you need. That's what you need to be successful in this series. Is you need to be not only good on ovals, but you need to be good on road courses as well. Because if you're not good on both, your hopes are not gone, but you have a far less chance in this series. As Hawk makes a move to the outside for 6th place.
Moving further back now, we see this long effect that Vanquish, he's all the way in turn 3-4 area. Meanwhile, last place hasn't even gotten to the final corner yet.
Yeah, and it's a long race. We're expecting a very, very long green runs, if any. Green flag runs, if any, even cautions. Yeah, again, it's almost a 3.5-mile road course. Cars are going to be spread out all over this track, and especially on the late, long green runs. So to have lap cars is not even, it's not out of the question at all. In fact, it's almost 100% guaranteed.
Yep, and lap cars, they can become a factor. We had a race to where a couple seasons ago, it was Rain. That was the name of the driver. He ran here, and he was very dominant, very similar to Vanquish, although Rain was able to put almost the entire field a lap down at the finish of the race. So it can be as dominant as that, or it can be down to the wire. You just never quite know.
Yeah, and Off-Road has made a mistake at some point in this track, I believe, off the roundabout, excuse me. And Hawk capitalized. He's moving up to 5th place now. Off-Road lost a lot of time on whatever mistake it was.
Yep, Hawk working his way up.
Yeah, I believe Off-Road got very loose coming inside the carousel roundabout, not the roundabout, the carousel, and Hawk gained a lot of ground on him there.
They're riding along in a lonely 4th place right now in Shinobi.
Yeah, really.
Shinobi, very good road course ringer, but he has no cars around him at all right now. There's a large gap to 3rd place in front of him, and there's a large gap to 5th place behind him.
Yeah, really, first through 3rd really are just sort of keeping pace. There's big gaps between behind and in front of them for all those 3 cars. They're just sort of running their line, making sure they're not making any mistakes, not going to those sand traps, and just sort of keep pace and sort of not hope for a caution to get everyone stacked up and maybe gain another spot or 2, but just run your race, keep your pace going.
And that's what you need to do. You always need to try and maintain your pace, get around the track. And guys in the back, they're just hoping they don't get lapped. Guys in the front, they are just trying to run their race, trying to get into a position that they feel like they need to be in. Top 3, obviously very valuable. You get playoff points for finishing in the top 3. And so guys who are up front, they're just trying to march their way through.
Yeah, and in the format we run, every playoff point is extremely valuable. So to get even top 3s is very crucial. So if you're in that 4th spot, you're probably going to be trying to push your car as hard as you can to get to that 3rd spot, especially later on in this race.
For those of you watching and wondering our playoff format system that we run do have a playoff to where we have top 8 drivers at the end of the regular season get in, although this year there's a possibility of a 9th playoff driver. But they need to have many requirements, and they will have a disadvantage going into the playoffs. The 9th playoff driver is only possible if you, 1, have a win, 2, you are you've made at least 10 regular season race starts, and you are within the, I believe it's top 18 in the points.
Yeah.
So you need to meet a lot of requirements to get that 9th spot, but it's still possible to get there, just so then we can make the playoffs less attendance based.
Yeah.
Now, when you get into the playoffs, any playoff points that you have earned, because you at least have 3, because you need a win in order to qualify for that 9th spot, those points do not transfer over into the playoffs since you are the 9th driver. So you get none of your playoff point transfer, and if the person in 8th does not have playoff points, well, by the way, 10 playoff points are added to the top 8 drivers. So then no matter what, there's going to be a 10-point gap between the 8th and 9th driver. So it's possible, but you're at a huge disadvantage. But even then, 10 points, that won't be enough to save you. Let's look at last year. We saw J.W. Reno. He had a very unsuccessful playoffs, but he had, I believe he had a 12-point advantage above the cut line going into the playoffs. So he had 12 or 15 points that he had, and he was eliminated. He didn't make the championship 4.
Yeah, and it's just really, it's about being consistent, right? The more points you can get means the more third, second, and first places you have, right? So if you can consistently get into those podium finishes, you will be not safe, but very more safe than other drivers.
It does give you a little bit of a cushion.
Fastest lap so far, Vanquish, 150.446.
Yeah, just so fast around this track.
Yeah, he was about 2 seconds faster than second place in practice. I say about because he might have been 1.9, 1.8, but he was constantly running 150s as we have another driver, I believe, lag out.
Yep, right now we have the screen loading. That usually indicates a lag out. And yes, Josh.
So 2 rookies out before half, unfortunately.
2 rookies out, yep.
That brings us back down to 7 rookies in this race.
Now a total of 18 drivers, and I'm telling you right now, this 18th offset, he's now starting to get worried because it's now starting to become barely over the front straightaway. Vanquish is for sure catching him.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've seen these last 2 races as he slips off into the stand there is that offset may not be.
It's okay, bud. We saw nothing.
Yeah, we saw nothing. Nothing happened. You didn't see that. What did you see? Nothing. But what we're seeing, I think, is maybe that offset is more of a oval racer. Now this could be just a bad track for him. But at least these first 2 races, it's not looked night and day. But I mean, last week offset was challenging for the lead a fair few times at Daytona. So you never know. He might be an oval ringer rather than a road course ringer like some of these other guys.
Here, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Oh, sliding through turn 1, Oracle, Reno, and Woolley. I don't know how they didn't wreck there.
Oh,
Oracle sliding more.
He's just practicing his formula drift.
2 and 3.
He's just practicing.
And then he forces Woolley wide. No.
Don't think Woolley's going to be too happy about that.
He definitely will not be happy about that. So that's really a first incident here on lap 12 that we've had this race.
Yeah, we've had guys go off in the sand off their own accord, but not really any contact or incidences. But Oracle just testing out his formula drift skills. right now.
Very, very much. But now Woolley gets the worst of it, falling back to 10th after being in 6th.
Yeah, those sand traps, even if you put one tire into them, they are deadly. They'll lose you a lot of time. As Oracle runs wide and goes into it, he'll lose probably 2 or 3 spots here, I'd imagine. Maybe not, because D-Dog behind him goes into it as well. Or sorry, Kart Racer behind him.
And who takes advantage of that? Culture, Oracle, Woolley.
Yeah. Now we have Woolley back up to Oracle, you know. I'm sure Woolley remembers what happened half a lap ago, so we'll see how he feels about it here soon.
I hope he doesn't have short-term memory. It only happened half a lap ago.
You never know. He might have hit his head.
You never know. So we will actually see here with Woolley, because it's going to be very curious to see if he's actually going to get to him. He almost got to his bumper there in the last corner, but that's just the line that Oracle's running. Oracle's very much running a diamond arc in that last corner. He starts low, goes high, and then tries to exit low. Well, Woolley, he's just trying to stay low around the whole corner.
Yeah, with this track, there are 3 things to this track. Number 1, you need to have great throttle control. If you don't have throttle control, you won't make consistent laps. Number 2, you need to be very cautious on your brake, and you have to have brake control as well. Number 3, you need to not be scared to get on the throttle. If you're scared to get on the throttle, you won't be able to run it wide, and you won't be able to get those extra tenths.
Yeah, you won't be able to maximize your lap time. There's a lot of things, a lot of technicalities. Even though this is a nice, fluent course, in the driver's hands. Me, you, we were running laps earlier, and we both thought that this track, very, very smooth for the driver, very, very nice to have their car in control. But there's a lot of things that you need to do to keep your car in control.
Yeah, and like we've said all day so far, is the second you lose that control is the second you go into that sand trap. And like we've said, that sand trap, like we've said and seen, that sand trap will lose you a lot of time and a lot of precious seconds to people ahead of you, especially in situations like Oracle, where he has 2 people behind him, but he could also gain positions if any one of those 2 people in front of him goes into that sand trap and makes a mistake.
And it does look like that finally the leaders did catch up to Offset. Offset now 1 lap down.
Yeah, he'll be the first one of this race, but I can guarantee you not the last one of this race.
Oh, no. Yeah, very much not the last one. Now, the gap between 2nd and 3rd is changing a little bit. Maybe more into this run. The fuel run and the laps that you can be running is only around 17 to 19 laps. So, very much so, here in the end of the run, you're going to have people with tires running out. And worn tires is kind of king at Mugello. You want to have worn tires because you're going to be running faster laps on those worn tires. But you also need to be careful because your fuel and your tires can both cut you off at the same time.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see what strats people take. Will some people short pit? Will they pit in the next 2-3 laps, trying to be the first one to pit, to have the first pit cycle? Will they try and save their fuel, do a longer run? It'll be a ton of different strats we'll see throughout this race. We'll have to see which one works the best.
Yep, Tython, as you see, working more and more on MVP. He might be close enough to where he can make a move through those final set of S's or the last corner if he actually wants to get a move on him.
Looks like, he tried it, but he got very loose.
He tried it there, yeah. He tried it in the carousel. That carousel, now, a lot of people... MVP!
Man, MVP
with a save!
Like I said...
Tython's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, like I said, those little mistakes, the second your car's out of control, look how much time MVP lost to Tython. Tython was slow coming out of the carousel because he got loose, and yet he's still passing and still has about about a quarter of a second lead over him right now.
Yep, very much. Tython taking advantage, and Tython was catching him to where he definitely seems like the faster car at the moment.
Yeah, and it might be just MVP is sort of a short run driver, as Tython's a long run driver, because obviously we're getting to that sort of green area to go into the pits. So it just, we'll see.
Yep, within 1 lap, a pit window will open, and we can expect drivers really for sure within the next 5 laps to go into pit road. And as I was trying to get to for Tython in the move that he made in that corner, I remember a driver who's, I'm going to quote, who's not in this race tonight, Jankum. He gave very good advice in trying to run around this track, and right now the carousel, in fact where Vanquish is right now on track, that carousel, it feels very similar to Watkins Glen. It's a very long carousel, it takes forever for you to get around it, but you can't run it like it. You cannot run it like it. At the Watkins Glen carousel, you can very much dive it in deep, and you can attempt to make a move coming out of that carousel. But here on this course, you're going to have a carousel, but then you immediately have a set of S's. And so you're really not setting yourself up for a clean pass, you're setting yourself up for a bump and run pass.
Yeah, Mugello feels like a lot of different circuits. Obviously, that first section I was talking about at the beginning feels a lot like Suzuka. That carousel feels like Watkins. There's a lot of different factors in this race. So there's almost a section for everyone in this race, right? We'll see some people struggle in one section, but then be some of the best drivers at another section. So it'll just be, where can cars capitalize? Where will drivers realize they can capitalize against the person in front of them? And I think that's what Tython's doing right now, is trying to find where MVP is his weakest out of this track.
Yep, MVP did get back around Tython, and now we have another car 1 lap down. What's up?
Yet again, one of many to come, I'm sure.
Yep. Next in line to be a lap down would be Deedsburen.
Yeah. Right now, MVP and Tython are just going back and forth between the second spot. MVP's gotten back past Tython after he ran a little wide coming out of some of these corners. So, but Tython's not very far behind, only like fractions of a second behind MVP right now. So we'll see how much ground he can make up in the next couple of laps.
And very much it could just be MVP. He's just trying to not make mistakes. He's trying not to make too many errors around the track, because he did make that one big error, and Tython was able to capitalize on it, especially with him being so close.
Yeah, it's gonna be a race of who can make the least mistakes, right? Whoever can stay out of the sand trap the most, whoever can be the most consistent, will be the winner of this race.
Yep, so far all roads point to Vanquish being that one. Looks like we have someone in pit road. Deeds is in pit road.
Yeah, Deeds was making some aggressive moves early on with this, so it wouldn't shock me if his tires are a little more cooked than he'd like them to be. Obviously, he made that one very aggressive move to cut across Panda's nose, and it almost costed both him and Panda. Somehow he kept it through. It might have been a great move, but it was a very, very aggressive move.
I'm curious to how worn Vanquish's tires are, because we did see him get very squirrely early on in the race, and those little squirreliness in the rear, that will definitely add more wear than you want on those tires.
Yeah, for sure it will. You gotta run a very smooth line, so I'm sure his tires are at least properly cooked right now. So it's just going to be a matter of time before he comes in with how squirrely he was.
Another car into pit road. We have Woolly Mixer making his way to pit lane.
Woolly Mixer, another.
Actually, no, not Woolly. Reno? Was it Reno? Yeah, Reno.
Reno might be trying to do a strategy, realizing that, hey, I'm not doing super hot right now, so let me early pit, get in front of these leaders, and maybe get cycle out ahead of them later on in this race.
Yeah, possibly just trying to beat that timer around.
So far, nobody past top 5 has come in. Really past top 7, I want to say.
Panda in the pit lane. He was the next guy to get put a lap down.
Vanquish will go around still again. He is not pitting this lap.
But obviously we'll have to go to pit road soon, as we have seen a lot of backmarker cars heading their way to the pit lane.
Yeah, and really the strategy there is get some fresh tires, see if you can sort of cycle out in front of the leader, or just get your lap back even. Either or for these sort of back cars will work for them. Just trying to get that little bit more speed since these leaders are on some older tires here.
One car who's hoping that Vanquish goes in this time to pit is Edwards, because now he's the next one in line to get put a lap down.
Yeah, and with these long, with very few yellow flags, if any, projected for this race, every time you go a lap down, you need to hope and pray that one, the leader takes a very poor stop, or two, that there is a caution, which really. A slow pit stop is more likely than a caution, I'd say, in this scenario.
Yep. Within the next lap here, we can expect a lot more cars to come to pit road, because not many have came to pit road yet.
Yeah, I think everyone's really waiting for that leader to come in, because that leader coming in is sort of your signal, hey, if he's coming in, then we need to come in. There's a car very far off track. 16th place, I believe that might have been... Who was that?
D-Dog's in the pit road.
I think that was What's Up. Yes, it was. What's Up was very far into the sand trap. Might have been just getting out of the way of the second and third place there, but I'm not 100% sure.
And Vanquish not going in this lap.
He's got to be running low on fuel. He might have enough for maybe 1 or 2 laps, but he's going to come in very, very soon.
Yeah, needs to come in very shortly for sure. D-Dog, I'm sure, maybe not too pleased with that, because he was hoping that Vanquish would have gone in that time.
Tython comes in, but MVP opts out for another lap. That might be a very, very good move by Tython there. We'll see how that turns out for him.
Another car in, but it looks like they are a lap car. That's What's Up in the pit road again.
What's Up might have actually hit the wall. He might have gotten some damage. He was very far off track into the sand trap just half a lap ago.
Yep. A lot of cars making their way to pit road now. Hawk, Shinobi into pit road, off-road into pit road. So, yeah, we could very much expect this next time by Vanquish to make his way to pit road. Culture now in.
And this is what Edwards is
Kart Racer now in.
Because Edwards is trying to make his fuel last as long as he can, because he knows the second he goes a lap down, he has a far less chance of winning.
Well, Vanquish is right on him, so...
Yeah, he's going to... Will he block him? No, he's just going to let him go by.
Let him go by. There is no blue flag rule for road courses, so if you are just trying to fight to stay on the lead lap, you can fight the leader for that.
Yeah. So we'll see if Tython's trying.
As a lot of cars who've made their way around, it looks like definitely Vanquish needs to go in this lap, or otherwise he's going to start losing on his lead.
Yeah, because a lot of these fresher, those very first cars coming in will probably have good tires as he comes in now. I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure MVP will follow him in as well. So we'll see if Tython's strategy of sort of coming in maybe a lap or two early before the leaders was a good idea or not.
Yeah, MVP making his way around the final corner right now. And then Tython still in third. He's on that carousel right before the last set of S's.
MVP comes in now. So yeah, I believe the entire field has come through now. So now it'll just...
Yeah, the entire field should have cycled through now.
So we'll see if those first guys to come in have their tires right where they want to. They might be able to gain a few positions. We'll have to find out here soon.
And MVP trying to make his way to the exit pit road, but Tython obviously has all the speed going into turn 1.
Yeah, and Tython might actually... Tython...
He's even with him.
Yeah, we'll see. He's going to cut underneath him.
There we go. Cold tires on MVP, not able to get grippy right away.
Yeah. I think that was a really good move by Tython to come in earlier than the two people ahead of him. Just because he gained a lot of time.
They're still side by side. They're still side by side, but it's going to take around half a lap for MVP's tires to really set in.
And
Tython not going to hold it. He's going to stay back right now.
yeah, he realized MVP was going to give him a very, very shallow entry into that corner, so he decided against it. Probably a good choice there. In the rear. This part right here that MVP and Tython are on, you need to not be scared to get on your throttle. This is where if you're scared to get on your throttle, you'll lose a ton of time through that section right there.
Right now, Vanquish obviously dominating fashion, 24-second lead after the pit cycle.
Yeah, he's catching up to Cam right now in 13th. He'll look like to be the next victim. He'll come down into turn 1. Oh, Cam locks up big time. That'll give Vanquish a lot of room on him. Vanquish started on pole and hasn't left or not led a lap yet since the start of the race.
Yeah, for sure has just stayed at where he's at, and he says, I like being in first, so I'm going to stay here.
Yep. Vanquish still with the fastest lap of 1 minute 50.446.
Well, very calm after the pit cycle right now. Cars all scattered around the track. Hey, do you think it's time for to crank it up?
I think it is.
All right. Crank it up. Sorry for that, had a light delay here. Saw the lane through the crank it up time frame. We saw that we had more cars lag out.
Yeah, we had Woolley and Deetsbeam and lag out, so it's not a great day to be a rookie right now, as all 4 lag outs have been by rookies so far.
Very unfortunate for Woolley, though. He was running solid top 10. He had even more than that, not even more top 10 speed.
Yeah, really unfortunate, especially for that team and especially for the points, as we have one go off in turn 1, 15th place. That would be Offset.
Now, massive gaps forming in between a lot of guys here in the front.
Yeah, right.
There you see a gap between 3rd and 4th even.
Yeah, right now we're hitting
huge separation.
We're hitting this later stage of the race, so we're gonna see these big gaps form as everyone sort of settles in for the mid part of this race. So everyone's gonna be keeping pace. Maybe the next stop is gonna be coming up relatively soon here. So everyone's just sort of trying to keep their tires, keep their pace, make sure they're keeping a solid pace where they're not losing much time. If anything, they want to gain time with their pace.
Mm-hmm. And now, if we've seen a trend that rookies have lagged out, I bet you a lot of guys are hoping that first place rookie.
Yeah, that first place rookie lags out in this entire race changes.
This entire race definitely indeed does change as he's trying to get around Offset, being very aggressive there.
Offset says, nope, you can take the outside, I'll keep here. I'm perfectly fine here.
Well, Offset is already 1 lap down, and a race where we're not expecting many cautions, just to go 2 laps down, that's just an axe on your race.
Yeah, that's an instant gone, and Vanquish may not be
he's gonna go
may not be super appreciated of Offset holding him up like that, so he'll give him a little nudge and get on his way.
He is a rookie, so he might not know all XRS rules, but the rule is there is no blue flag, so you do not need to move out of the way. You do not need to, like, it's not sort of respecting the leader, but you just don't need to let him by.
Yeah, you want to keep your laps, that's fine by us, but just know that you might get moved is all that you need to remember. When we left, there was a good battle between Woolley and JDM for 10th place, or Cart for JDM for 10th place. But fortunately, he lagged out.
We actually see in the chat. In the chat for the stream, it's Woolley. He stopped on by. It said he left.
Oh.
He did not lag out. So that would actually... for sure cause problems if he... Oh, no, saying even more left the race in the league. Well, you don't want to draw too many conclusions to that and be very dramatic on the stream, especially.
I mean, yeah, some guys come. I mean, we see it all the time. Rookies come in, they just sort of don't really like the style of racing, and they figure out it's not really for them, and they leave early on in order to not cause issues later on in the season. So we see it. We see it happen all the time in the season, and the season isn't. And especially
we see it happen often to where guys, it's just not quite their tempo, and it's mainly because XRS, this is very much a different level of racing. This is not Formula 1 etiquette, for sure, and that's what a lot of guys come in here thinking. But no, it sets a NASCAR precedent, and NASCAR very much is not your average racing that you're going to expect. Yeah, you can expect the common bumps and close racing, but at the same time, it can go all the way to the extreme, and you can have guys moving each other out of the way because they just want that position so badly.
Yeah, and as well is race how you want to be raced, right? So if you move somebody out of the way, that person's gonna come when they see you come by next time, they're gonna move you out of the way. So whatever you dish out, prepare to get it dished back to you. Dish self-serve.
Yep, and now with a lot of cars going one lap down, and in general, all across the board.
Kart racers close to being around.
As we saw that,
takes out Culture with him. Very good racer by Culture to just barely squeeze by that. Maybe had an inch.
Yep. But now these two are worried, the two owners of the league. These two guys very much worried. Because who's behind them?
Yeah, that would be first place behind them, so.
That would be first place. So only 10 cars are on the lead lap. Very much not how the way that these guys wanted this race to go with the pit cycles and everything. Vanquish increased his lead through the pit cycles when a lot of people, I'm sure, were expecting the pit cycles to make his lead smaller.
Yeah, and you know that's a gamble you take. You might pit a couple laps early, expecting that, but obviously he had a great pit stop, so he didn't really lose time. In fact, he gains time from it, as well as he's being very dominant all day with his lap times, being very consistent.
Well, also he was one of the last few drivers to pit, so you know very much he could extend the tank out.
Yeah, he can definitely extend his tank out probably a lap or two, which is a very crucial factor. The longer you can last that tank, obviously the less you have to pit.
But now this is only a 2-stop race, and so when we run into the money stop later on, it's the money stop. If you decide to pit a little early, kart racer diving inside Culture here, but if you make that move a little bit too early, now what you're going to end up with is you running out of fuel coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, you have to go in for a third pit stop, which is very costly, as I don't know if there was contact between Culture or Kart there to get Kart loose. It was very close. Might have been a bump and run, but I can't say for sure.
Might have been. If I were in either one of these two guys' positions, I wouldn't be racing each other very hard. Because we have the leader approaching behind. I would very much just run the race, look at the track in front of me, not behind me.
Yeah.
And just try to see if I can maybe not outrun him, but last him here, because in about, approaching the last pit stop in around 8 laps from now, that's the money stop window.
Yeah, that's when that window starts to open, and you'll see most of your drivers come in. You might see one or two come in early if they think they can maybe make it to the end, last that feel out maybe a lap or two extra than everyone else.
Now, of course, that would be a very far-fetched stretch.
I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen it last week, how many guys stretched that field to 0% while they were in the lead, while they were in mid-pack. It didn't quite work out for them, but maybe difference on road courses, I don't know.
Different, you never know, though I believe that you're referring to Offset, who was in the lead for a while, and then he ran out at around lap 196.
Yeah,
197, I believe, is when he actually ran out.
Yeah, taking that big risk for it all, so but all on black. we'll use card game terms
for a game of roulette. Now, of course, although that was for the XRS 500. That is the first Crown Jewel race, one of the biggest races of the season, if not the biggest race of the season. So you're going to put a lot on the line here. But for this is only race 2 of a long regular season, as now Vanquish making his way around Kart, and very soon Culture as well.
And you know what? If I'm Vanquished, I'm trying to get out of that position as quick as possible. Because
being in between
two lap cars.
Culture looks like he's going to move him out of the way.
Yeah, he's going to get out of the way. But if those were other drivers, those drivers may not be getting out of the way. You might see Kart become more aggressive, trying to get that lap back, and then Culture trying to hold him up, trying to keep his lap. So, like in situations when you're in between two cars, is not very fun and not very safe. So shall we say?
Yeah, but now, as we said earlier in the broadcast, that the top 8, they were the road course ringers. Well, there's only 8 cars on the lead lap. It's not quite the same bunch of guys, because we did say Reno was not quite one, but Reno having himself a good showing here in 7th. Looks like after a couple lag outs and the pit cycles, he's able to find his way well in the top 10.
Yeah, and Reno was one of those first guys to come in, so you can see sort of the variations of the stop that are working. Coming in probably one of the first cars, early stops with Reno, and one of the late stops with Vanquish, obviously. So it looks like those two sort of work, at least work the best, we should say.
Mm-hmm. All the way back for the lap down cars, Edwards making a really good pass. And I believe that's Cam. Yep.
Yeah, and every now and again we're seeing these packs form, as there's about to be a pack of 3 or 4 cars. In 12th, maybe the 14th. Yep, 12th to 14th. So you can see Cam and all these guys are very bunched up. Cam, Panda, and Edwards. So these will be the crucial moments to get these positions, is when everyone's bunched up like this. Because obviously for Cam, if Edwards misses a braking zone and taps Panda, that's basically 2 free spots.
Yep. And now Oracle, as we go to him, yeah, he now has a Vanquish, not too so distant away in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, so then that will bring up to the top 8, and right in front of him is Reno. So 7th and 8th looking
so
like
another 2 could go
block.
down. But now this is quite a bit of a gap between Oracle and Vanquish. And there's only around 5 laps before that pit window opens again.
Yes.
So unless Vanquish really closes that gap here, Oracle and Reno, the more cars that Vanquish puts a lap down, the faster that they'll be.
Yeah, and he's coming into another dangerous zone, because if he passes Oracle but can't do the double pass, yet again he's in that predicament, sandwiched between 2 cars that both don't want to go a lap down. That's never a fun place or a safe place to be when you're the leader.
Never a good situation, even if you're any driver just trying to make positions, being sandwiched in between 2 drivers. You can't make a mistake, otherwise you're going to lose the spot again that you just made up. But you also have to make sure that the car behind you doesn't get too aggressive, because then it could mess up your pass on the car in front of you.
Yeah, and Vanquish has actually made up a lot of time this lap on these 2 cars.
Yep, this lap making up a lot of time, so I would say maybe at the end of this lap, because there's still a few sets of corners to go, Vanquish is going to be around Oracle.
Yeah, and if I'm Vanquish...
Not quite sure if he can get to Reno, though, before the front stretch.
Almost a very aggressive move there by Vanquish. Almost got into the back of Oracle, coming into that corner. If I'm Vanquish, I'm trying to make this move as early as I can, as Oracle goes in the sand.
Oracle in the sand.
That...
Yep, so
as much...
That's just pressure.
Yeah,
he was probably mirror driving.
That's pressure by Vanquish, but that's very good for Vanquish, because that means he's not in that sandwich anymore. Where
yeah, he's no longer in that sandwich, and now there's even a bit more of a gap, because I'm sure Vanquish tried to maneuver his way around Oracle. And that did cost him time, but now that helps Reno a little bit and save him a little bit of time before Vanquish gets to him.
Yeah. And that's what he's hoping for.
Oh, Vanquish actually in pit road.
So that means Oracle gets his lap back. So Vanquish trying a very
Wait, what happens with Vanquish here? Vanquish is stopped at the end of the pit lane.
If he's stuck, there might be a caution. There could be a caution that comes out.
No, now he's rolling. What is going on here?
Maybe a caution has come out. Yep, it would appear so. Caution has come out.
Yeah, it appears so. Because now second is slow.
Second, third are all slow on the inside, so
they're all slow. So if a caution is out on the track, but they wouldn't be like this. So I believe there's actually a red flag on the track.
So that means our first red flag of the season.
Yeah, it would be the first red flag of the season, I believe.
I'm guessing the red flag in it just so that everyone can sort of catch up. But this changes everything about this race, because this is where people are going to make a lot of spots up or lose a lot of spots, is when they get all.
Yeah, we're only gonna have a few cars make their laps back, but then obviously we're gonna run.
Hawk and Shinobi missed it by that much. Missed it by that much.
I think they're trying to get TV time. I'm not quite sure.
Make the sponsors a little more happy.
Make the sponsors a little more happy. Hawk running a realistic scheme, the freeway insurance car. That is actually Daniel Suarez's car.
So now,
this is a part of Strackhouse.
Now
it's back to caution condition, or Vanquish is just moving up.
Well, we're back to caution. But now this changes a lot, because any cars that were a lap down now get their lap back. So most of the field is now on the lead lap. And this is, yeah, like I said, this is where you're going to find the guys make the most aggressive moves trying to get these spots, knowing that this most likely and most probably is the only caution of the race. So, I mean, this is going to be not, I wouldn't say this is money stop territory yet, but this is definitely the most aggressive.
You're definitely very close.
Yeah. If you this is where you'll see guys take the big gambles. If they're gonna make a gamble, they're gonna do it here.
Now, if they're gonna make the big change and they're gonna try and go in right now, then you're not gonna make it to the end.
Yeah, unless you can.
They're not gonna make it to the end, and even if you try to stretch out the tank, you're asking for like 3+ laps, and we think you can only get to 2.
Yeah, we think you can get to 2, maybe 2.5. So it's a big gamble if you're gonna do it. It's an all or nothing gamble, like we've seen last week at Daytona. So it'll be very interesting to see if anyone does it.
Now, with this being the first really incident of the night, it's been really quiet. We had 2 early on incidents of close racing at lap 12 and 14. A couple cars who have gone off track into the sand traps, but those are not caution events. Those
are not caution worthy
things that we. Yeah, those are not worthy of a caution, eligible of a caution.
Close enough. that was not worthy of a caution.
Now here bunching up the field, and right before the money stop, we have a mixture of guys. We have guys that are who are on worn tires. We have a mixture of guys who maybe were trying to save their tires.
Yeah. So this is a lot. If somebody comes in, and it's a big if. This is going to change up a lot.
I don't believe we're going to see any takers. Maybe a couple guys at the back, very back of the field, making their way around the track right now, trying to get grouped up with the pack.
Yeah.
So maybe.
If we do see something, I agree with you. I think it'll be from back of middle pack to the very back of the pack. Nobody from, I'd say, even the top 8 will even dare take it.
Yeah, very much. If anybody in the top 8 decides to go in, very risky, gutsy call unless they're relying on this restart that we're going to have to breed another caution.
You know the saying, cautions breed cautions. There's still
cautions breed caution. That for sure is a saying.
There's still single file.
We still have that caution. We still have that caution interval period. And it looks like a lot of guys actually.
A lot of takers. It was the exact opposite of what we thought.
Could this be a mistake though? Well, a lot of takers into pit road, they're relying that this yellow is going to help them a lot. Now guys that are going to be taking risk here. We have Hawk, we have Oracle up here, we have Culture.
Most of the top 5 went in.
Then Offset is over here, but he's a lap down, so he's going to get cycled to the very tail end of the field. So 4 cars that stayed out.
Tyson with a big gain off pit road. Second one off pit road.
Yeah, he was able to get around MVP in the pit lane.
Very good stop for his team.
This definitely is not what I would have expected. So unless all these guys that pit think that they're going to be able to extend it out with this yellow, because you're not burning fuel for this next lap.
No,
You're not, or you're not burning much.
yeah, you're burning.
If you're saving,
you're probably burning a quarter of what, less than a quarter you would if you were actually full speed racing.
Yeah, you're very much going slow. So interesting decisions by a lot of drivers. I would have not made that decision. I would have stayed out like these top four. But knowing that I would need to go into pit road in a few laps just so that I know I can make it.
Yeah, and I think that's what people. I think that's why some people went in. They're thinking, well, I'm going in 2 or 3 laps already, so why wouldn't I just go in now? Right? I think that's sort of what has taken a lot of these people. It's a surprising strategy from the front 5 or 6 cars. I expected maybe 8 on back to really go in. But
yeah, we for sure expected drivers to go into pit road, but not literally the leader in the top 3.
Yeah, top 3 and 5th, so most of the top 5. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what works. We have obviously 2 clear strategies now, so we'll see if the top 4 will get a better start.
2 clear strategies, but one obviously takes the majority over the other.
Well, we'll see which one works.
We will definitely see which one works. Now, this could set up maybe 2 exciting finishes in a row. Panda, really?
I wasn't gonna say much, but yeah, I definitely saw that. I wasn't gonna comment on it. I was gonna let it slide.
Really, Panda?
I was gonna let it slide.
Last week you wrecked at Daytona for
Twice.
TV time, and now you're twice, and now you went off track in Mugello. Good job, buddy. Good job, Panda. We love you anyway. Don't worry.
I wasn't gonna
but
comment
it's just
on it.
Sometimes.
I wasn't gonna comment on it, but I definitely did see that. I was gonna let it slide.
You could very much tell by the bright Ferrari scheme in the background.
Yeah, usually if you're gonna go off track, you want to have a black, sort of nonchalant scheme. If you're gonna make mistakes under caution. Well, here we go to the final corner.
Yep. Leader has control from the start of pit wall to the start line. This will definitely be interesting. 2 distinct stops. 2 distinct strategies. Green flag back out.
Outside lane got going.
Hawk obviously taking advantage.
Outside lane got going a little bit better, but not much better in all honesty.
A lot of cars checking
Deep
out.
send. Oh, an off-road.
Oh,
off-road. 3 cars and off-roads in the wall. That may do it. That may be a caution. We'll have to see.
Well,
another
there's
car
still the caution
around.
interval.
Another car, maybe not. Farther back in the field.
Just know there's still the caution interval in between every yellow. Vanquish making ground quickly. Now he's up to 2nd.
Another car around. Couldn't quite tell who it was. It was Offset. Or not Offset. It was, what's up? Well, things definitely have escalated very fast.
Hawk the leader, Vanquish 2nd. Hawk's on old tires. Vanquish is on a fresh set.
Shinobi locks up.
How? Will Hawk be very aggressive here? Because Hawk will still need to pit soon.
Yeah, he will. So I mean, I think Vanquish knows that. So if I'm Vanquish, I'm sort of just letting him have this spot, making sure I'm not being gained by anyone behind me. But just knowing that he has to come in, that he will come in soon to make sure he can go all the way to the end. I'm just gonna sort of keep my pace behind him unless he makes a mistake.
Yeah, oh, Hawk trying to block Vanquish to the inside, rubbing him out of the way. More contact made, Hawk wide. Vanquish will clear that spot. Now, will Hawk just dump him in turn 1?
If you're a fan, you're hoping so, because it's more interesting.
Well, I'm a fan. Let's see.
It looked like Vanquish was almost going to give the spot back.
It almost, or it just looked like he was trying to prepare for that.
There's Hawk.
Yeah, he was trying to prepare for that. There was a dive bomb.
I have a feeling we'll see some.
And now we have Shinobi making ground now.
We have everyone
Hawk has been defensive on Vanquish.
Hawk is, I don't think Hawk is
trying to get out of the way. Shinobi now in the mix.
Shinobi, that may not have, that almost was not a very good move. Oh,
getting moved out of the way.
It looks like Chase Briscoe at Indianapolis.
No. Now, Hawk, he did go through the corner. He almost cutted the corner, but he did get forced off. So I don't think any penalty will need to be assessed.
There's no controversy, unlike Briscoe at Indianapolis.
Unlike Briscoe, but now Shinobi was sitting back and watching all this. He takes advantage. Now he's at the front.
Shinobi definitely.
Vanquish still trying to get around Hawk.
Shinobi definitely capitalized. I feel like Hawk and Vanquish are not best friends right now, to say the least. They're not the...
Probably, but now I'm wondering, where are all of the four cars that stayed out?
Hawk
gets pushed off!
Typhon's off as well. Oh.
A couple of cars after that incident. Yeah, Vanquish had enough.
Yeah. It looked like Hawk was going to make an aggressive block, and Vanquish just said, well, I gave you one chance. I'm not giving you two.
Yep, and now here we have Shinobi now needing to deal with Vanquish here soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
And those top four guys, that pit window is going to open up this next lap.
Yeah, I mean, as one goes in right now, 2-3 cars go in. I believe that was your top four. Kart Racer, JDM, Oracle. I don't believe Kart was. Hawk, Culture, and Oracle definitely were though.
No, Kart was one of those top four. Hockey was part of those top four.
Oracle was one of those top four, and I think JDM was.
So now everyone except Shinobi. Well, because Shinobi, he was up there.
Yeah.
He did not go into pit road.
Well, we'll have to see how much longer he can last. I actually think Shinobi did go in.
For sure. Oh, he did go in?
I think he did.
You can check his telemetry real quick.
I think he definitely did. 84% fuel. Tires are.
Oh yeah, no, he did go in.
Tires are only at 15 at the front, 8 at the back.
Yeah, no. Okay, so he did go into pit road. My mistake.
Oh, but he's now in the sand trap.
Oh, but in the sand trap.
But they both went in.
They both went, yes.
Vanquish a lot less.
Vanquish and Shinobi.
Vanquish recovered a lot quicker, though, so he did gain a fair bit of ground, but Typhon gained a lot.
He did recover quicker, but now Shinobi will try to drive the time of his life here because Vanquish, such dominance that he had in the race. Now he has found himself racing against very aggressive drivers.
Yeah, and if Vanquish loses this race, I think it would be an upset. I do think it would be. Vanquish has
led. It very much would be an upset. There, Shinobi, a little bit of a
These are the only laps that Vanquish has not led this entire race.
Yeah, the entire race has pretty much been led by Vanquish. Even throughout the pit cycle, Vanquish was the leader. So it wasn't until that restart.
Very aggressive blocking.
Vanquish all over the bumper. He's going to turn him.
Shinobi's around off in turn one.
No, he turned him.
Vanquish will give the spot back, but Typhon says...
He will give the spot back. Typhon says, I'm out of here.
Typhon says, I'll take that, thank you.
Oh, okay. Very good though, and very sportsmanlike on Vanquish to give Shinobi the spot back.
Yeah, it was some aggressive racing, a racing incident. And Vanquish just gives the spot back, but Typhon says, thanks, I'll take the spot instead of him. How about that?
Typhon was not part of the incident, so he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. He says, I'll take the spot, thank you. So Typhon out to the lead for the first time tonight.
Yeah, definitely some of the most aggressive racing that we've seen, and it's all because the field got bundled back up together. We also did mention that in a big green flag run, and we get one yellow, how would that bunch it all up?
Yeah, and especially late, sort of this in the later half of the race, this is where you're going to see the most aggressive driving. And like I said, before that restart, I called it, we're going to have the most aggressive driving of the race, and we've had it for sure.
Had it for sure, very much indeed. But now Vanquish falling back to third. I believe this is the farthest back he's fallen.
Yeah, he's
this
been
whole
first the
race.
entire
Actually,
race.
no. Actually, right before the restart, Vanquish was, I believe, in 5th or 6th.
For about 0.5 of a mile. Oh my God!
Oh, Shinobi with a heavy
dive.
lockup.
Deep dive, heavy lockup.
No, he had a heavy lockup, and he could only go straight for a second, even though he needed to turn left.
Yeah. Now we're seeing the exact same situation last lap.
Exact same situation, but we're gonna see if Shinobi cannot get tagged this time by Vanquish.
Oh, a little bit of lockup.
Looks like it's gonna be clean.
Yeah, it'll be much.
Yeah, you're gonna have those small lockups, especially after the long front stretch.
Look who's
this track just naturally produces.
Look who's creeping up behind them there.
USA MVP, yeah, MVP, very much making his way through.
Silently.
MVP, we know he was fast. He was second for the longest time.
Yeah, he was second for the longest time battling Tyson. He's just been quietly catching up to this group of 3 right now. Who knows? Maybe if Vanquish and Shinobi get back together, we might see another guy just go right by saying thanks for the spots.
Yeah. Vanquish for sure. Oh, MVP trying to get his way.
MVP's like, hey, I'll throw my hat into the ring. Oh, and there goes Vanquish.
There goes Shinobi, a little bit off track. Vanquish now through to second. But now can MVP or Shinobi give Vanquish something? Because now that Vanquish is ahead, he still would need to catch up all the way to Tyson.
Yeah. Tyson was really hoping that Shinobi was going to hold up Vanquish for a lot longer, because I'm sure Tyson was
very much sure, yeah.
Was looking in the mirror, and I'm sure he had a grin from side to side on his face when he seen what Shinobi was doing. Oh, Shinobi into the sand trap. He lost a lot of ground.
Oh yeah, very much. Now let's see, where did those 4 guys that stayed out ended up? Kart Racer, he's back at 11th. Culture in 12th. Hawk in 13th.
Yeah, so that strat the going in strat may not have worked for at least the time being. The staying out may not have worked for at least the time being.
Yeah,
well, only
for the time, yeah.
Time will tell if these guys will run out of fuel.
Time being, it did not work. Yeah, that is something that now those guys that stayed out and went to pit road, that is something that these guys are now relying on. They are relying that, hey, I know I pitted at a time frame that I can make it to the end of the race.
Yeah. Where these
guys, they were relying on the yellow. The rest of the field, they relied on the yellow to save them.
Our racer gives Shinobi's all the way back in 11th.
Whoa, what happened with Shinobi?
I just seen Kart give Shinobi the heave-ho and realized he's in 11th, so something major had to have happened.
Yeah, major, yeah.
A major mistake by Shinobi.
Stuck in a sand trap, something needed to have happened there.
Yeah, a major mistake by
Vanquish
Shinobi.
making his run up on Tython.
Very big mistake by Shinobi, whatever it was, to cost him, but now he's driving very aggressive. There's a very small gap between him and Kart Racer, and he made it fit. Good job there.
Vanquish now to driver's right of Tython. He's able to get on by. Now Vanquish back to the lead.
Yeah, Vanquish is now in first. I'm just very confused on how
MVP. And now MVP, I'm sure, was hoping Tython could have held him up more because MVP was gaining ground when Vanquish was behind Tython.
Yeah. I'm just wanting to know what happened to Shinobi. We'll have to check after this race.
Yeah, we'll for sure need to see. It was not caught on stream, unfortunately. Fortunately, we are not NBC or Fox with a high budget with multiple cameras on the track.
with hundreds of cameras all around the track. We are not them.
We are not them, so we can't see what's happening on the track 24/7.
We have Forza.
Like there are a few cars. Well, there's a few cars really wide at the back. What's up and Offset? They got off track.
Yeah, Offset's not had a great day for himself.
Oh, very much, yeah. Although he had a decent presence at the 500 last week.
Yeah, Offset last week was challenging for the lead multiple times throughout the race, running up in the top 5 and top 10 for 99% of the day.
Yeah, but now not in the greatest of positions.
Fortunately, I don't think this is one of his favorite tracks by the looks of it. But I mean, he's finished at least ahead of multiple people. Shinobi putting to the bumper to the back of Edwards now in 9th and 10th place. Trying to get around.
Oh yeah, Shinobi was very much fast, so he can for sure make up a few spots here towards the end.
Yeah.
Really trying to get around Edwards here.
Yeah. He knows he doesn't have much time left, so he's just putting pedal to the metal and bumpers to bumpers.
He's putting qualifying laps down right now.
Yeah. Now, I think I don't know if Vanquish can do it, but if he gets back around to Hawk, we may see something between those two. Those two are not friends.
Although that is a far fetch because Vanquish is all the way turn 1, about to enter turn 2. Hawk is in the final corner.
Yeah.
Right now. So there is a huge gap, and with the time left, if we had maybe 30 laps to go in the race, then for sure that is a possibility.
I wouldn't even say 30 to go. We have about 12 to go, 13 to go. I think
so maybe if we had 20 to go.
Yeah, about 20 I'd say.
Yeah, but right now, no, I don't think. Maybe towards the end of this run, Vanquish might catch the 1-lap car. That would be what's up. Who would be able to catch him?
I think now the battle's really for second. I actually know when Vanquish I thought Vanquish was a little farther. Anyways, you might have had a little slip up. But Typhon's still not that far off Vanquish. But MVP's right on his bumper. In fact, he's going for the move right now. Maybe he's going to look to the inside now. MVP will now move up to 2nd place.
These two guys definitely fought very hard side by side next to each other for most of the race. But it seemed like MVP was a little bit faster.
Yeah, it seems to be going from almost lap to lap between these two of who's faster. I want to say MVP's faster in the short runs, but Tyson might be a little bit faster in the longer runs.
And this run will very much turn into a longer run as we approach the 10 lap to go mark soon.
Yeah. Well,
Shinobi has made his way up to 9th
Vanquish
after trying to recover.
Vanquish got real loose off of turn 4, and he almost went around, but he saved it. Lost a little bit of time, but not much at all.
And wow, we actually have Panda running in 7th place, having a solid showing for him.
Yeah.
Before, early on, he got himself in trouble, was all the way back in last in 20th.
Yeah, Vanquish, 56% feel those tires are at just around where you want them to be, that 30% range and 25 in the back. But that fuel might not be enough to make it to the end. It'll be very, very close.
It will be very close, and we're going to see how much was he able to save the tank, because he was able to be one of the last cars to pit in the first pit cycle.
Yeah, but that was when he had that big lead, so he could really let off the throttle early and get on the throttle late.
Very much he could manage his time. He could very much let off to extend for a full lap. Here, he's been needing to battle. He's needed to battle with 4 or 5 drivers to get back to the lead.
Yeah, and when you have to battle, you're gonna lose a lot more fuel if you were running by yourself. So I mean, it's going to be very close. I don't think Vanquish thought he would have had to battle as much as he had. I think he thought he would have a relatively easy time getting back up to the front, but everyone's showing him otherwise that he really had to battle. If maybe that he might not have enough fuel and he might need to pit again now for it.
Yeah, because with as much as you think, it's the general rule that, okay, if you're running with someone else, you're burning less fuel. That only applies to when you're in a drafting environment. So if you're at Homestead, Daytona, these high drafting tracks, Indianapolis for a little bit down the long straights, you are saving fuel. You are saving fuel if you are behind another driver and you have less drag on your car. But this is a road course. The rules of the road course are applied very differently. When you're running by yourself, you can be burning the most fuel. But when you're battling someone else, you're burning even more fuel because you're trying to get every single RPM, power, torque, and inch out of your car so you can beat that other driver.
Yeah, and I think all these top 4 or 5 drivers burned a lot of fuel doing that. So you might even be able to see some of the mid packs like off-road, Hawk, Kart. Obviously, those 4 drivers that pit, or sorry, the 4 drivers that didn't pit, those guys might have a huge chance here to make the upset. Off-road may be able to because he hasn't really had to battle too much, but now he is in a battle, so he might see his chances start fading.
Mm-hmm. And as you can actually hear, let's ride on for this lap to see just how much Vanquish is actually pushing. You can hear in his car that he's taking it very lightly here in these first 3 parts of the track. Pushes it a little bit hard down this straight. But here, look how much he's lifting early.
Yeah.
Now that he's in the lead, he's in control. He knows the car that behind him is not going to catch him unless he makes a big mistake. Yeah, he's running way less aggressive. Not for stability in his car. He's trying to save as much fuel as possible.
Yeah, I think he's realized that he wasted a lot more gas than he thought he would, and a lot more gas than he should have. So now he's trying to make that back up.
These 2 corners right here, you could, if you're running as hard as you can run flat through them. Here, slows down a lot. So Vanquish, he's just trying to make up for his fuel.
He's doing a pretty good job at it. It's been about 2 laps, down to 46%, so about 2 or 3 laps, you lose 10%. It's gonna be a very, very close. If he can make it.
Yes, it's going to be really close to see if he can actually make it or not. Now, of course, if you're Vanquish, you obviously want to make it to the end of the race.
Yeah.
You don't want not to.
Drivers I don't think are going to be making it are MVP or Tyson. They're at about 40%, just above that. So I think they will have to come in. We'll see who.
Yeah, and down the long straight, yeah, all the way. Vanquish is going really slow. He has a huge gap. He's not pushing the car hard at all.
The first driver that can make it to the race, I'm trying to find them, might be Shinobi, 68%. So him spinning might have actually helped him, or whatever big mistake he made might have actually helped him.
Yeah, because he was able to then save a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
And he's not pushing his car very hard at all either, because he is relying on the top settings to be low on fuel.
This is actually very interesting. He was one of the people that didn't come into pit, or what he actually might have done is he might have actually pitted just before the caution. That's what I think he might have just done.
That could have, yeah, because
he has more fuel than the 4 drivers that pitted.
So Shinobi, he might have pitted. He might have been able to get the lucky pit stop.
I think that's exactly what he's done. His kart race.
And now he's in position, but now consider this. There is a huge gap. And even if these guys run out of fuel, it depends on where they run out of fuel. If they run out of fuel coming off of the final corner, well, then they can just sputter to pit road.
Yeah, I mean...
But if they run out far away from that corner, you need to clutch it in. You need to make sure you're not running any RPMs at all so you can sputter your way to pit road.
Right now, I think Shinobi...
Let's see the gap right now. There's a 35-second gap. Excuse me.
I think Shinobi might be the only one that is, I'd say, 100% can make it. The drivers that pitted are only on 50%. They're only 10% higher than Vanquish. Shinobi is a full 28, almost 28% higher. So I mean, it's going to be very close for almost every car in this race, besides for Shinobi, I think. So Shinobi might have just had the best pit stop of his career.
Now, yep. What's up going off track? And no, Vanquish. He did put that car a lap down. Or another lap down, I believe. And now who would be next? Offset. Yeah, man. Offset not having the greatest race right now.
No, I don't think he particularly likes this track very much.
Well, for sure after this one, he doesn't.
If he did before, he doesn't now. But, yeah, I think almost everyone in the field is going to be very close on fuel. Most of these cars, I think, are actually going to have to pit.
And it will be interesting because we had this similar situation at Daytona. We had a lot of guys. The field was spread out. We had people trying to inch it all the way to the end, but they ran out a few laps short. Here, could it be a few laps short, or are you going to be sputtering on the last lap?
I think we'll see a lot of guys sputtering on the last lap to having to come in 2 or 3 laps before the finish. Shinobi, or not Shinobi, Vanquish. Shinobi. Vanquish currently 35% left, 6 laps to go.
Yep, and he is doing a good job of saving. We'll see, he might be able just barely to make it to the end. And now someone actually climbing their way through. Reno is now in 3rd.
Yeah, Reno. One of those, yet again, another driver that did pit during that caution. He's at 30, about 30%, just above 30% at 31. So yet again, he's another driver that needs to be saving up his fuel, or he will not be able to make it to the end.
Very, very close all the way around. Now 6th and 7th, Panda trying to make a move here on Cam.
Right now, if Vanquish, MVP, Reno, and Off-Road, who did pit during that caution, are all like, if that caution strategy does not work, Shinobi is in prime position to capitalize on it. 5th place.
Oh, we have a couple cars in the pit lane.
So it will probably be the first of, I think a few to come in.
What's Up was in the pit lane, and I think Tython was in the pit lane.
I think he did come into pit lane. I think Tython might have run
Tython's all the way back in 14th.
An upset for Tython, but maybe...
So now...
But what he might be seeing is that, hey, if I'm not going to make it, I don't think anyone else is going to make it, I'm going to pit early and bank that everyone else can make it and maybe gain some positions like back in the late part of this, in the last couple laps of this race.
And I see, yeah, Vanquish, if we ride along with him, he's coasting on the front stretch. He gave very little acceleration.
Yeah, very little. In fact, no, there's a caution. Caution is out.
There's a caution.
I think we might be having another red flag.
Red flag because he stopped. Caution procedure is you race it back to the line, but you don't.
So
yeah, you don't stop.
This might actually be terrible for Shinobi. This might actually kill Shinobi. I think he'll gain a couple more positions, but really he needed Vanquish to run out of fuel.
Yeah, but now with this, if you were barely gonna make it, now this
I think
you take
I think we
advantage of
see
this entire thing.
I think we see everyone
And that's
but
why I
Shinobi
think
come in.
Vanquish stopped. And that's why I think Vanquish stopped. Vanquish stopped on the track because he wanted to save fuel. He's not allowed to be stopped. Under caution. Only under red flag you're allowed to stop. Under caution, you still need to keep rolling.
I think we see everyone besides people who pitted just before the caution and Shinobi come in. I think we see first through fourth come in. I think we see Hawk, Cart, Panda, and Cam come in. I think literally everyone who either just pitted or Shinobi will stay out. I think we might have 4 cars stay out, is my guess.
This will for sure be very interesting, as of course we're waiting on everyone to get caught back up. Making the way around, it will for sure be interesting to see who goes into pit road, who stays out.
This will be the most aggressive part of the race, once we go back to green.
Yep. And now we're right on the mark that we predicted, around 2-3 yellows for this race. This will be the last yellow of the race, though, so we were right on the prediction.
Yeah.
Just around 2. Due to the caution interval lapse and the caution cutoff at the end of the race, no more yellows will be called once we go back to green.
I definitely did just notice the car go way off into the sand trap, but I didn't catch what car it was.
By the way, it's under low speed, so hopefully nothing wrong there.
See, this kills 2 people right now. This kills Shinobi and Tyson, who's short pitted. I'm pretty sure he short pitted early on, not knowing that there was going to be a caution, number 1, and 2, to catch everyone who was going to run out of fuel and come into pit and gain easy position through pit lane.
And I mean, very understandably, bagging on no caution. For the longest time, we didn't have a yellow.
Yeah, and I mean, we went, what, 30, 35 laps without a caution. We've now gone about 15, 20 laps, and we've had 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not as many takers as I thought.
You see a lot of guys fake pitting.
Not as many.
You see a lot of guys.
I guess because of the caution laps, people have been really saving their fuel. I think everyone checked their fuel and realized how low and close they were.
Mm-hmm. So now Shinobi only gains 1 spot out of that. The first taker who went into pit road was Reno, and you noted that Reno was for sure very short.
Yeah, Reno was probably one of the shorter on the field.
So yeah, it was safer for him to go in. But now with these guys, is enough fuel saved up?
Yeah.
Is simply enough fuel? Are they able to save up so then they can go all the way?
Currently, Shinobi,
Vanquish
has 31%. So the leader has 31, so I'm going to assume everyone around him sort of is in that area besides, obviously, Shinobi. Now, I think MVP is cutting it very close, 27%. We'll be going with 3 to go. It's going to be very close.
That would be too close to comfort. Yeah, that would be too close to comfort. And a lot of people fail to recognize this is a long racetrack.
Yeah.
This is not.
3.5
this is over 3 miles.
3.5 miles, almost.
Almost 3.5 miles for this track, and that's long for a track. Homestead only 1.5 miles. Daytona and Indianapolis only 2.5 miles.
Off-road in the same boat.
You're looking at a same boat around 2.4 miles. So all these road courses, this is for sure one of the longer road courses, not in terms of the length of the race, but it's long in terms of just how big and how this track is all the way around.
Yeah, off-road in the same boat as MVP, 28% fuel right now. Shinobi also, we know, was
very close.
Shinobi also knows very good. He's at 50% fuel. Hawk.
Yeah, 50% fuel for him.
Hawk for him is at 33%. Yet again, he'll be cutting it close, but not nearly as close as 2 cars ahead of him. Cart behind him, 33% in the same boat as Hawk. Oracle, Also in
this
the
will be
same boat.
interesting. No, take into consideration what we said earlier. You are burning more fuel battling. And we know here, this is the final restart of the race. This is the make or break start.
This will be the most aggressive racing you'll see out of this race, hands down, because there's 3 laps to go. This is where you're going to make most of your gains and most of your losses.
And now for these guys who are cutting it close, you burn, as we said earlier, you burn more fuel battling other cars. So if they're already cutting it close, they're going to go all gas, no brake for these final 4 laps.
Well, we're coming out of the final corner.
We're going to ride along here. Let's ride along with Shinobi for the start on his game camera. Green flag. It's the money. Vanquish gets going very far ahead.
That's what
MVP in line behind him.
That's what Vanquish needs. He knows that there's going to be a lot of aggressive driving behind him, so he's just trying to get out as far as he can.
Car Racer making a move inside of Shinobi.
Vanquish.
MVP trying to get inside of Vanquish. Not able to quite clear him there.
Vanquish locked
Vanquish
up.
ahead. MVP second. Off-road in third. Shinobi in fourth. Shinobi trying to gain some ground. On off-road. Tags him a little bit. Off-road able to hang on. Now Shinobi with advantage into turn 4.
Oh, and we have Oracle almost going around. 3 wide back in the pack for a second there. Oracle loses 2
Some
spots.
in the sand.
Oracle almost went into the sand. He loses 2 spots though because he was almost completely sideways. Oracle's just being bullied right now. Reno and Cam go very off after contact. That might ruin their race hopes for them.
That very much Reno and Cam ruined their hopes. So last week's XRS 500 winner not going to have a promising result for this race.
Offset gets very loose off the bumper of Edwards.
We have a bunch of cars jumbled up here. Kart Racer almost losing it off of Culture. Culture trying to make a move, but Kart has a better inline drive here. Yeah, Shinobi 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all under a blanket.
Yeah, we'll check on that fuel with MVP, see if he has enough. Obviously, he did a fair bit of battling.
And Kart spinning, saved it with a little bit of help from Culture.
MVP on 21% fuel. He lost about 6 or 7% that lap.
And now the owners go wide, Typhon on through.
The MVP is going to cut it very close. He lost about 7% that lap, and he has 20% left with 3 laps to go.
3 to go, yeah.
Off-road behind him on the same situation has 2% more, so it looks like he might just be able to make it.
Will for sure be very, very interesting in how these final few laps play out. The top 2 cutting it very close. Off-road, we know is cutting it close, but not as close.
Vanquish cutting it very close as well. 23% fuel. 3 laps ago, he lost about 8% that lap.
Now, who's in best position right now? Shinobi, we still know he's very safe, and he's in 5th.
Yeah, Hawk.
That gap that formed before, that was a 35-second gap between Vanquish and Shinobi. Now it's only 5 seconds. So if any of the top 4 sputter here towards the end, off-road, tried to go off-road.
Off-road still showing his Formula Drift skills, but maybe not the right time to do so.
Yeah, off-road tried to go off-road, but now Shinobi, 4th. Typhon off track with Hawk side by side. Typhon did lose a few spots. But now Shinobi right on the bumper of off-road. Like we said, that gap is not as big as it was before. Shinobi, we know, very safe on fuel. Off-road, MVP, and Vanquish, not as safe. And Shinobi is going to tag off-road. Hawk on through. Off-road, trying to stay out of the sand trap. Shinobi loses momentum. Kart and Culture on their way by.
2 to go, and Vanquish with 18% fuel left behind him. MVP with 15%, so about losing 7% again. These two need to be very cautious coming off these corners, but Vanquish can't be nearly as cautious as MVP because MVP is right on the tail of Vanquish. If he can let off a little bit early, but not as much as he was before the caution.
I think for sure, so close battling. Culture and Cart go off the track. Off-road still spinning. It's pandemonium all the way for fourth.
A lot of cars, a lot of contact. Like we said, this is going to be the most aggressive part of this race. And Shinobi needs to make sure that he comes out pretty much top three. Shinobi needs.
Yeah, Shinobi trying to make the best.
Shinobi needs to make sure he is very much clean and behind and where he needs to be in case that any one of these cars ahead of him runs out of fuel.
I think give him a run for his money, though. And Oracle, those are two team cars next to Shinobi. Not the greatest situation that Shinobi could be in right now.
Yeah. MVP has almost fallen to single digits with his fuel. 13% left with still 1.5 laps to go. He's going to be coming extremely close, but he is saving a little bit. You can hear it in his engine and how much throttle he's putting in.
Now let's go all the way to the leader, Vanquish, as he has one more corner before he reaches the white flag.
Vanquish tires are pretty much cooked, but you can
very much saving.
Yeah, very much saving. 14%. He's almost in the same boat. I think he might be able to make it now with his 14%.
He should be able to. Yeah, he should be able to make it. He's been saving a lot. Final lap as he crosses the stripe now. And the bell lap, the man who started it. Vanquish dominating fashion, but now needs to worry about fuel.
I think he makes it, but I think if we would have went green throughout, I think everyone from first to third, including Hawk, would have had to pit. I think that caution very much saved these top three cars right now.
We would have been talking a very different scenario right now if we had not had that second caution. We know a lot of guys were safe, some other guys not as safe as others. And we will see if we, on the map as we're watching, and on the ticker to see if anyone sputters here and who is not saving.
MVP falls to single digits with 9%. It's going to be very close if he's going to make it.
He should be able to make it, though. Less than half a lap to go for Vanquish.
It's very weird seeing these tires and seeing how they sort of are on different drivers. Vanquish's tires are sort of more leveled out, 70% around in the front, but they're all sort of in that orange area, whereas MVP's front tires are completely cooked, almost 80%, but his back tires are pretty good still with the 50% wear on them.
Final corners. Vanquish making his way around the last time. Coming out of the last turn, Vanquish, a dominating performance, qualified on pole, had a dominating practice session, and in his first career start on fumes, Vanquish wins race 2 of the XRS season.
And it's really no shocker, he was very dominant today throughout both practice, qualifying, and the race. Has the fastest lap of the race yet again. With a 150.169, he was so close to making it to that 149 range.
And now we are able to see here Hawk, he's able to grab a third place. So top three, MVP, Hawk, and Vanquish, of course, your race winner. A lot of guys cutting it close on fuel.
Everyone in the top three in single digits on fuel as they cross the line. So yeah, I think if we had those green flags instead of that yellow flag, I think this could be a very different race that Shinobi wins. Yeah, Shinobi or Tyson.
For sure, different outcome. Now let's back out of the lobby. Cars still have some time to make their way to the finish. Right now, race end timer at 1:45. So we will wait and see until guys are able to make their way out of the lobby, but we will be inviting these guys, the top three. Of course, if they accept an interview as well. So that marks. And actually, think about it, Hawk able to grab 2 podiums in a row.
Yeah, right now Hawk being looking like the most consistent out of the top drivers so far.
Now, we are waiting, and race timer still getting in. For those of you who have already joined into the party, make sure that you have your audio connected and everything.
Yes, we don't want to repeat of last week.
We don't want to repeat of Reno not having his audio connected last week.
Race winner not having his audio connected.
Yeah, so right now we have second and third in, so we're going to wait for the end race timer to completely go out. We're going to see if we can get Vanquish in here. Now Vanquish has joined, but now we are going to see. Make sure all of you guys have your audio connected. And for a quick mic check, MVP and Hawk, are you here?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we hear MVP now. Okay. Well, let's get on to the podium. First up, Hawk. Hey, I was interviewing you last week, so I guess that's a good sign. So here, Hawk, you're able to get a third place. You had some solid pit strat. There at the end, though, a lot of guys on fumes. How are you trying to save up your fuel, make sure so you can even make it to the line at the end?
I was just confident. I stayed out. I know that other people were saying that they're good on fuel. Well, I know some did, but played it smart. Didn't run into people's mess. It was a pain to get the third, but yeah.
At least it was a good fight. Well, you're the only driver who finishes on the podium 2 weeks in a row, so hopefully you can continue this momentum going into the next race.
Yeah.
So, good luck to you. Great race, Ryan.
Thank you.
Now we'll go on to second place, MVP.
Hello there.
You had not the greatest showing at the 500 last weekend, but you're a road course ringer. You were able to show your strides here immediately in the second race of the season. You were consistently top 3 all night. You had some great battles with Tython. Do you think if you were bundled up one more time, could you have had a shot at Vanquish?
Nah. This man is on a completely different level. Much as he likes to joke around and say, if I can keep up, this guy is on that level.
Well, overall, good showing to you. Your first playoff points that you're getting. So with finishing in second today, you do have 2 playoff points awarded to your name. So you can be consistent with these podiums. You can show up on the road courses. I'm sure you can have many success throughout this season. So good on you.
Thank you.
And now we go to AK for the winner.
Yeah, I mean, Vanquish, great job all day today. How does it feel winning in your first start in XRS?
It feels alright.
Obviously very dominant all day. How does it feel to be that dominant all day through practice, through qualifying, and then eventually through the race?
It's MVP. MVP's the problem. He's too fast.
Oh, I'm sure, my guy.
And then final thing, it was a very risky at the end there. First caution comes out, you go in. What's going through your mind through there?
I don't really know yet because I was just seeing how much the fuel was. Yeah. I mean, I didn't practice. It was the fuel. So.
Yeah, I mean, what we were seeing in what we were talking about through the booth is that if that second caution didn't come in, a lot of the cars wouldn't have made it to the end without saving a lot. You seem to be saving a lot. How are you doing that throughout the track?
I was just letting off before the turns. That's how you save fuel in this game. But holding the clutch in doesn't help.
Well, congratulations on the win in your first start. Very dominating fashion, and good luck into races in the future.
Thank you.
All right, and a big thanks again to AK for being in the booth with me 2 weeks in a row. AK, obviously you bring a wonderful second essence in the booth that hopefully we can continue this streak for further races in the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's super fun to be in the booth. Watching everyone race, being able to commentate it is really, honestly, probably the best thing. I'm not the best of racers, but if I can at least commentate and contribute to the racing, that's all that matters to me.
Hey, as long as we're having fun, very good event overall to be able to commentate here. Vanquish winner here at Mugello, and we go into another road course race right away, but this time a new essence of tracks. We're calling them short ovals, but in reality they're road courses in very small configurations. We're going to the Brand Hatch Indy Circuit next week. And we will keep updates because there is a possibility that there will be no stream for next week. So is a possibility in that, but we will try to get a stream up for everyone watching. And to everyone who watched the race tonight, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Stay tuned on the Instagram page for more highlights posted. Make sure to give us a follow. And more updates coming on the Instagram soon. Enjoy the rest of your night.